we go.
If the board agrees with that time frame, I would move the building permit forward and we'd issue a letter, giving them a date.
And they need the 2 years because?
Well, I'm not able to answer that question. He kind of described, building the pool house and then, putting the tank in maybe before landscaping's done. But again, he'd have to answer that question. He kind of elaborated a little bit 2 meetings ago.
Right. I don't have a problem with it as long as, he signs it and we put a date on it, that's all.
Well, we did 2 years for other people, so
Yeah,
now.
there's nothing unusual about the 2 years, so I don't think there's an issue.
No,
As long as we inform him in writing and keep track of it, that's all.
Okay.
Alrighty.
okay.
You have anything else, Bill? Any Title Fives, any whatevers?
Well, I think
Just-
Bill wants to discuss the select board meeting on Woodward, what resulted regarding Woodward Ave.
Nothing has resulted because that meeting is gonna be Monday.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
meeting's the 10th. That's kind of a heads up.
Yep.
Bill, are you gonna be able to make that all right?
Zoom, definitely. I'd rather be there in person though, because I've got all the files, and if people need to see things physically, it's going to be easier to do in person.
Is that at Woodward Ave, Billy?
No, it's at the municipal building. It's for the select board and
Yeah.
town
Oh,
administrator.
Okay, yep.
My understanding it's hybrid, so it's either or, but it might make sense to be there in person.
I'm planning on being there in person, and if you could, that would be terrific.
Yep. Yeah, there was an engineer in my office on Monday that I randomly crossed paths with, and she was there reviewing the Woodward Ave files on the town's behalf. I think they're coming up with a proposal to the town to do that investigation and to try to, put that shared system issue and what the 1870 building can be used for to bed.
Is everybody aware of what what that situation is? If not, I can recap and Bill can fill in.
You can
The
recap.
town hall has something of a metal tank, and that is joined by there the 1870 and Faith Lindsay's house meet at a point alongside the 1870 that goes down the driveway, crosses the street, and goes to a leach field on First Parish Church property. And this has been in place for decades, frankly, but we're reaching the point where it really needs to be flushed out, because with the complete streets project that's pending, it's
Right.
design work is underway. Don't want to see the complete streets project go into place and then we have to dig up sidewalks and streets to make this happen. So
Right.
we're pushing to get a resolve on this, and it, frankly, right now it involves three parties: the town, Faith Lindsay, and First Parish Church. And correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but I think the first step is going to be that a Title V has to be done on this system.
Yeah, the engineer spoke of, opening up that pit, pumping it, getting dimensions, verifying dimensions, probably recommending the town put in a 2-compartment tank there to serve the town hall.
Right.
Possibly doing a perk test to determine what that pit can handle, and then subtracting Faith's 3-bedroom flow, and that's going to leave the 1870 with a number that they'd need to work beneath unless, an upgrade in full compliance was proposed, which it would give them flexibility, but I don't think that's in the budget.
Right.
You know,
What
and
is
ultimately,
what is-
the town
excuse me.
wants to see the 1870 building get utilized more
Correct.
for different functions.
Mm.
So there needs to be a clear understanding of what the system can handle. Does
Correct.
it need to be expanded? And if it needs expansion, where does it go? Does it go to First Parish property with their permission? There are a number of variables and pieces to this puzzle. And I know Franny Burke tried to resolve this back in the early 2000s with no success. But we're in a different time, place. Our municipal government is, I think, in a better place than it was in the early 2000s. We have an administrator and somebody to pay attention to things and hopefully help move things along. And down the road, should the Lindsay property change hands, it's going to trigger a Title V, and all
Right.
this stuff should be resolved ahead of time.
Sure.
So that's the direction that I think we need to be pushing. Title V, who's going to pay for it? I don't know. I think the town probably should, but that's not my call. That's going to have to go before the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator. And if the septic field or pit needs to be expanded, then that's a conversation with, I don't know, First Parish, because they're the only ones that own any land around there. So there are a few
The
balls
First
in the
Parish-
air, and more questions than answers at this point.
Right. Now, the First Parish is owned by the town, Paul, or is it? a
What?
separate- The First Parish Church is owned by the town? or
No.
No, it's not owned by the town.
It's not, okay,
It's a church. No, the town doesn't own any churches.
just asking. It was a
No.
meeting, it was the town meeting house at one time, but of course not now.
Long before our time.
Oh, yeah. No, just wondering how that worked. Like you say, it's a private entity, so, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got their hands full with two different problems.
Oh, yeah,
And this is a third project that falls partially on their plate.
right.
So, I don't know how quick a resolve is going to come about, but I would definitely like to, the Complete Streets project is underway relative to design phase and so forth, and
Right.
that would probably be shovel ready sometime this summer. So these things need to be ironed out. Yes, Sue.
What is the Clean Streets Project? I must have missed that one.
It's complete
Fix-
streets. It's
Complete
about
streets.
redoing traffic flow patterns, adding sidewalks, all in
Yeah.
the very center of town.
And we don't want to be digging that up after, like you say.
No, that would be foolish. That's why,
Right. Yeah.
and First Parish, unfortunately for them, they're involved because they need to bring water from the children's church to the main building. So that digs up the street on the other side.
Right.
So, there's a fair amount to consider, and their plate is full in terms of consideration, what they have to consider.
Sure.
So the more information that we can get resolved with this septic, the better off everybody will be. And that's only one side of the impact on Complete Streets. So.
Right.
mm,
I don't think there's any need to dig it up after we do it, that's for sure. I agree with you, Paul. Try to get something done and try to get something
you,
accomplished.
you don't want to destroy new construction that,
Of
we're going
course.
to pay
I mean,
for, and then, you dig it up and somebody else,
It's
we or somebody
crazy.
has to pay for that again. So, it's
right.
just,
That's
it's just foolishness, but
Yes.
planning can avoid that. And
Yep.
that's all we're really trying to do is do the appropriate planning here.
Paul,
Yes.
considering Franny Burke started this or attempted to 20 plus years ago, it's obviously not going to happen quickly. you know, if this complete streets is moving forward, I don't know if it involves, you know, paving, etc. You know, at minimum, you know, the town might consider putting a sleeve under anything that's being paved, just so
Very
if
good
the
idea,
septic
very
and
good
this,
point.
if it doesn't all work out in time, at least there'll be something underground that could be used to go underground versus having to tear things up again. So again, just
Great.
depending on how the time frame moves forward.
Yeah, but
Well-
no, that would be a good preemptive strike relative to any problems. Absolutely.
Great idea, Billy.
Well, we still have 15 minutes before the hearing.
All right.
Do you have any other reports, Paul?
I can give you one more. The transfer station third-party inspection has been completed. I think everything is in order relative to DEP. I talked to the engineers, Ty and Bond. I think they've dotted the i's, crossed the t's. I haven't made contact with DEP, but I don't think there are any issues. The good news is the original estimate from the engineers was $5,000 for this third-party inspection. I got information from Donna and Sue, so I did the waistband compliance aspect of it. And the net result is that we are only going to owe Ty and Bond $2,696.25 instead of the 5,000. So by taking some of this on ourselves, we save $2,300. That doesn't have to come out of Sue's budget.
Good job.
And Monday at the select board meeting, I'll be giving them the results of that, but also addressing the landfill inspection, which is going to be much more involved. And the inspection is more involved, and the results of that inspection are where the change machine turns into dollars. There'll be test wells, and I did some research, and just one of the machines to dig the test wells goes for about $2,200 a day, and then you pay for materials and so forth. So depending how many test wells for monitoring groundwater, and we don't know whether we'll have to do anything relative to methane monitoring wells. That's what this whole landfill inspection survey is going to turn up. It's going to turn up what they call deficiencies, and that's going to be really run by DEP. We'll be somewhat at their mercy in terms of what they want. I'm hopeful. I've expressed this to the engineering firm, for what it's worth, that I consider our landfill, our closed for many years landfill, fairly vanilla in the world of other landfills, because we were rural, agricultural, residential, not industrial. I'll be surprised if there are any major issues. You never know, but it's not like we took in a lot of industrial waste or any industrial waste that anybody can remember. So that will hopefully keep some of these monitoring costs down.
And
And in the
Paul,
end of all that, there's going to be a requirement for a closure plan, according to DEP standards. And that, that's a wild card. They're going to want to see some regrading. They may want to see additional material. No idea. That's all speculation, but that's when the cash register really starts ringing. And I went before capital planning just to give them a heads up that this is looming, coming down the road. We'll do so with the select board on Monday night as well. As I said, I did a little research. I don't have it right in front of me, but I talked to a company called GeoSearch to get some idea of their fees for putting in monitoring wells and so forth. So I'd be able to elaborate or give some kind of parameters to the select board on Monday. But I have not signed the contract with the engineers yet for that. I wanted to make sure we were past the transfer station inspection and really kind of push the time frame out to spring for two reasons. One, it can be a much more effective survey then, and it also gets us closer to a new budget year, which is something of a concern. So we will see how all that shakes out. Anybody have any
You had
questions
me-
about any of that? Yeah, Bobby.
You had me research that a few years ago, Paul, oh no, 5 years ago, and I remember one of the better things I think is that it is a smaller scale. It's like under 2 acre, like landfill, which was a positive for us, you know, in a way. It's not a large scale like the
Right.
Hudson one, so
Smaller
I
the
hope-
better.
exactly, yep.
I mean, the parcel is bigger than that. How much of it is landfill? You know, I don't know. I'm guessing it's 2 to 3 acres, but I think the
Yeah.
survey will help reveal that because they'll probably punch some holes just to see the extent of where trash was buried. And in
Yeah.
some places where garbage was separated and buried in trenches, they really may find nothing, you know, because
Yeah,
that
that's yeah.
that should have been primarily organic, and hopefully over 40 years it's disappeared. I don't know how much trash was included in that, paper and foil and all that. So, you know, there are a lot of mysteries, but like I said, you know, it's I like to think, and in my past life, I've been to many landfills for various reasons. This one is really pretty vanilla, and I'm hoping that bears true.
I agree. And have we heard anything from Hudson, Paul, or anything?
We're not
about-
we won't hear anything from Hudson. If we hear from anybody, it'll be the DEP.
Okay, yeah,
Hudson doesn't give a hoot about us.
we know. Well, they got our water and we gave them the dump, yeah, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to figure out how all that deal came about, but there aren't
Yeah,
many
that was
people
100
left.
years.
There aren't many people left that remember.
Yeah, I know, but that is a bigger scale system, and was it closed properly, or, you know, we should figure that
Well,
out
I
too.
don't know. I mean, I walked it with DEP.
Yeah.
I think it was closed reasonably appropriately. I mean, I'm not intimately
Yeah.
familiar with the specs by any means, but it's mounted with slopes and they have monitoring wells and all that. So somebody was
there is-
paying attention to some of the criteria back then.
Yeah. Well, I think Hudson has a well right there, sitting right down in there, so they must monitor that water at least.
Yeah, I think
Down.
they do it. I think they do have a well there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay,
Um, let's see, what else?
the barriers are working at the transfer station, huh? Well,
Say what?
the
Well,
barriers are
they're,
working,
you know, they're just a trial. What we're gonna end up
Right.
doing, I've talked with Stan. We're probably gonna gravitate to concrete barriers and maybe put 2 5 or 2 6 foot barriers in front of each compactor with space in between so people can traverse through there.
Yeah.
It's been confounding for some people, and I've watched them back up alongside of the barriers, so we know we need two because they don't stop with the barrier.
There you go.
The downside of that is in the winter, it's gonna require
I
more
know.
hand shoveling.
Right.
So we're gonna have to budget differently. And that's too bad because our budget's already submitted, but, we're gonna need more labor hours, I suspect next winter than what we have carried in the past.
I always budget for shoveling in the
I
transfer.
know, but I'm talking about increased shoveling.
Right.
I think we
Yeah.
should just hang a sign that says, if you stand here, you are a target and responsible for whatever happens.
Sue, my little naive chickadee, we have learned that people don't read signs down there.
Yeah, but if you post a sign, then
Yeah.
I don't think you're liable.
Oh, yeah, they'll still sue our backside.
Yeah, got it. You got
Yeah,
it.
I'm afraid, there'll be litigation. Whether we win or lose, there'll be litigation and that's
Yeah.
costly. Personally, I agree with you, but from the realities down there, don't know. Oh, the other thing, Stan and I had a conference call with an organization called Black Earth to investigate the possibilities of providing containers at the transfer station for compostable materials, organics, kitchen wastes, dirty scrap paper, things like that. Still looking at it. It turns out that this company, Black Earth, they're from, I think, the Rowley area, North Shore, but they
Oh, yeah.
have customers on the road by Solomon Pond Mall.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're within a couple miles of us. And they would provide these plastic totes, which they can pick up with an automated truck device. And it would be $24 per pickup for one of these.
Okay. Yeah.
And they said, well, if you can get more, need more totes, we can reduce the money. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
see what the elementary school does,
Oh, yeah.
to
Would-
see if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Would we be able to set the time, Paul, for where they come? Or set it up for like a month or like 2 weeks, or is that
they
available?
would come, fundamentally, they'd come weekly, because other than that, you're gonna be
Okay.
dealing with a smell issue over half the year.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
But some adjustments can be made. We did talk to them about that. They're still fine tuning and, we're nowhere near ready to pull the trigger, but,
Yeah.
as the DEP requires more and as communities involved, we just felt it was something we really should start taking a look at, so that if DEP inquires, we can say, yeah, we're looking into it, and this is what we found out, and for starters, it would be probably one tote, and if there was a second one, the pickup fees would be $24 for the first one, $22 for the second one.
Mhm.
So you extrapolate that over the course of a year, what would that cost? And then you offset that by some kind of guesstimate on how much tonnage you're keeping out of the trash, and do we save on
Right.
disposal fees? At the end of the day, I'm sure this service will cost us money. It won't be a saving thing, but it'd be environmentally more friendly and more friendly as far as the DEP is concerned. So
And
we
where
will keep you
garbage-
tuned on that. What's that?
Where garbage grinders are not allowed, with our systems now, which is a good thing, because I think that if people knew that it was there, it might build as you go, Paul. I think people will know it's there and use
Oh
it.
yeah, I would imagine it would increase. because, we're still sitting on composters and,
Yeah,
so,
7:30,
yep, 7:30, time for a hearing.
and there's
There's
a
Evan.
handsome man waiting in the waiting room.
he's
Yep,
gotta
you
unmute.
see Evan?
Hi,
There we
everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Evan.
Okay,
Right.
let's see if I can impress Evan.
He can pull him up.
Yeah, I can share my screen with the plan if that
Oh,
works.
please, I love it when you show up.
All right. Let's do that. Let's see here. Coburn 155 Coburn Road share. All right. Can everybody see that
Great.
okay?
Yep.
Yep,
Great. All right. So Evan Carloni here on behalf of the owners of 155 Coburn Road for a septic system replacement. They have an existing 3-bedroom home, and we are staying with 3 bedrooms. Relatively high water table on the property. Not too bad, actually. So we've got 4 feet and 3.5 feet in the 2 test holes. We're designing off of the 3.5 feet. We still require a pump chamber here, so we're going to be replacing a single compartment tank and a pipe and stone leach field with a 1,500 dual compartment tank, a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and then what we're proposing is a Presby, I believe we're sloped. It's a sloped, yeah, have a sloped Presby system.
okay, yeah.
So what we're looking to do here is, we can't eliminate the pump chamber, unfortunately, but what we're looking to do is try to reduce the mounding so that we have we're kind of leveling off the yard rather than creating a mounded system. It still is a mound, but it should look pretty decent when it's done.
Yeah.
So we're requesting an offset to the groundwater table from 4 feet to 2, utilizing the Presby. We are requesting a waiver of the reserve area, but as you can see, we've got plenty of space where that existing system is located. And then,
Is the black line where it slopes down, Evan? Is that,
yeah.
the-
So where the lot slopes off?
yes, the black line in the trenches? Yeah. Or in
Oh,
the field?
the black line there. So that's a newly proposed contour line. So we're taking that 102 contour line that's here.
Yep.
And it's going to have to come up over the system. So that's where our mound is going to be, is over the leach field.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
Yep. So it's it's basically, we're just taking it'll be a fairly gradual slope, but we're just extending that 102 contour and bringing it out into the yard a little bit more.
So
Sure.
the sloping direction is in the length of the Presby?
It's in the width. So each
in the width.
line, yep, each line here from 1 to 7, it drops by about let's see, what is it? It's 1/10 per line, so about an inch per line, and
Oh, yeah,
yeah, so it
Okay.
saves on the back end by doing that. It saves 6 inches. It doesn't seem like much, but when you're the difference of mounding is a foot versus 18 inches, it makes a bit of difference. It just kind of it fits the natural contours a little bit better.
sure.
Being a
And
pressure,
the well,
being a pressurized system, the sloping has no effect.
No, we just have to get it up to that distribution box. And then once it hits that distribution box, it will just gravity feed as a Presby does and go back
Yep.
and forth from line to line.
and the well is out front, Evan, out
Yep.
in the front yard? Yeah,
Yep. The well is in the front,
plenty of.
about 15 feet or so off of that front property line. Yep.
Yeah,
And
Terrific.
it's a drilled well, so
Now,
is,
how
yep.
about that? Bill, you and I saw, I think it was on West River Road, where the guy put in that matting system. You know the one I'm talking about? I went out to see it with you.
Oh, yeah, out by the hotel, Susan.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was a
yeah.
house like across the street from the hotel, and they were putting in a mat system.
Yeah,
I
that's the
forget what it was
geomat.
called.
That's another
The
alternative
geomat, okay.
technology. Yep.
That's another technology, yeah.
And that didn't raise the mounding, correct?
It actually minimizes it because it's only about 1.5 inches thick, where the Presby pipe is almost a foot, with the profile height.
Right.
So it does, it's a lower mound, but again, it's really designer's choice as far as what works best on the lot.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I know eventually I will have to replace my septic system, so I'm keeping an eye out on designers and systems. That's why I joined the board, so I could learn all this stuff.
there you go.
Well, Sue, when it's time, have Evan over for a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
I'll
go.
give him more than coffee. Muffins too.
Oh, blueberry.
You got it. I'll go pick 'em
Bill, do you
myself.
have any comments on the plan?
No, as always, much better than what's there, which is probably in or at the water table. And again, taking advantage of the 2-foot reduction in groundwater offset that Presby is allowed. Again, as Evan said, kind of minimizes that mound or grading issue that the conventional systems would use.
Two
And again,
compartment
these-
tank and big tank, I think that's great. Yeah,
Yeah, and these variances are, all ones that we've issued in the past on upgrades. Yep, Bob, it's a 2-compartment tank and then a pump chamber after that. So the water
Plenty.
that's heading out there is
gonna be,
gone
yeah,
through a couple chambers worth of settling.
Yeah.
So,
you can drink it before it gets there.
well, yeah, Presby says so. I don't know.
I'm just kidding, yeah. No, I have no problem, Bill.
I don't.
I'll
Matter
make a
of fact,
motion, we vote on.
I would like to make a motion to approve all the requested variances.
I will second that motion, Susan.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
in favor, we'll do a roll call. Sue,
Aye.
Bobby,
All right,
aye for Paul. Variances are so granted.
All right, great. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank
All right,
you.
Evan.
Good night.
thanks again, Evan, for bringing it up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks.
Anybody have anything else?
I don't know, unless Billy does, I guess
I'm
we're all
good.
set.
I do not.
Okay,
don't?
I have one last thing, looking ahead. We've got another meeting, the 18th. And then April, the first meeting is scheduled for April 1st. I will be out of town, so.
April Fool's Day, Paul?
Yep, April Fool's Day.
Okay,
So,
if we don't have a
it's
big
really
thing going.
pertinent to Bill in terms of his scheduling. To either, you guys can either meet that day or we can cancel that meeting and schedule around it.
Okay. Well, we have
Has that
one,
date-
And we don't have to decide tonight.
Right,
Just,
as that date
putting
approaches,
it
we
out
can
there.
certainly see, what's coming, if there's anything time sensitive. If not, we could possibly even skip the meeting and just have everything bump out to the, that would be the 15th, I guess, would be the next meeting after that.
That's correct, yep. It's just at this time of year, things could start getting a little busy, particularly if
Could,
the weather
yep.
Yeah.
breaks, so, we just
Yep.
need to keep that in mind. Keep things moving.
We'll keep an eye out. And then
And,
we're not gonna meet on the 1st, May 1st, or the 15th.
April 15th?
No, May
well, we
1st.
got March, we got another meeting
Well,
this
May
month. so-
1st is a Thursday.
Okay,
Yeah, May, we've got the 6th and the 20th.
well, we won't be meeting on the sixth,
Probably because of town meeting, yeah.
right?
Oh,
And then
yeah.
the week after that is the town vote. And I'm history.
Come on, you're not going anywhere. John, we're gonna keep you locked to
Doesn't
John.
take effect, Sue, until June 30th. Sorry.
I disagree because they will only pay me till May 15th.
That's right.
I'll have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, right.
You know,
We don't want you to lose, we don't want you to lose out on that huge salary.
Yeah,
the
yeah, there
person
you
I
go.
replaced tried to fight that battle 12 years ago and
Oh,
she
yeah, yeah.
lost.
Things are, we're coming out of the dinosaur age slowly here, Susan.
Yep. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I would second that.
Okay, all in favor? I'll say aye. Sue,
Aye.
Bobby,
Aye.
all right.